It was one of many Highgate Cemetery. We investigated cases all over the country. The Blackbird Cottage, that took place in northern Wales, and I knew a man and his Welsh wife who were living on the slopes of Snowdon.
Yeah, I mean, it's that valley that goes past, well, God doesn't know, I know that quite well.
Yeah, right. I can't honestly remember the name. Snowdonian Valley or something, I don't know.
Funnily enough, I can't remember the name either. Just up the road, they're called Fairy Glen, is slightly further up.
Yeah.
But anyway, never mind. Carry on.
There was reports of a tall, dark figure seen there too. That's supposed to be a monk. And it was a bitterly cold night. It was January. And myself and my second wife were staying with these people. And in the daytime, we went up to the cottage, looked around, photographed it, got some readings with the compass and all that sort of thing which you do when trying to get locations. Half the roof was missing, and this cottage couldn't have been lived in, I'm guessing, since the 1940s. It was obviously a miner's cottage because they used to mine slate. We went up there in the daytime and we decided to spend a nightly vigil, albeit in the middle of January.
Yeah.
And in the daytime, the old fireplace was still there. We went out into the grounds or nearby and we gathered together as much dry wood as we could and we put it into the fireplace, intending to light the fire that evening, which we did when we came back. Now, we had a meeting with us again. In fact, there were about 11 or 12 people present. When we returned, it was I can't remember, it was 1 o'clock in the morning or something. We all began, it wasn't a magical ceremony, it was a seance. The meeting was trying to make contact with the ghost of this figure. We were trying to find out what it was. Just rather like Highgate Cemetery, I mean. And we lit the fire. I think we'd even bought, well, my friend's wife did put some firelighters with it anyway. And one of the people present said, look, there's a figure there. And there was a tall figure that sort of seemed to glide across the room. Now, at the same time that this happened, it was almost instantaneous. We saw the figure, quite a few of us. The whole of the interior of the cottage was lit up, a really bright, dazzling light. The odd thing is, it wasn't a helicopter because we'd have heard it. It wasn't a plane because it was far too low. It was almost as if it was overhead. And the next thing, because it all happened so quickly, was there was a tremendous crashing sound. And soot, or whatever it was that had been lodged up this chimney, stone chimney for God knows how many years, all came crashing down the chimney with bricks and everything. Obviously what had happened was the fire had heated the chimney after years and years, the whole lot had just come crashing down into the fireplace. And all that resulted in clouds of soot being released into this quite small room. We could hardly see the torches we had, we just made for the entrance, choking it, just glad to get fresh air. And who should turn up again but the police? So apparently it was the only, my friends lived about a mile away and the cottage was fairly isolated up on the mountain slope, but there was a B road running below, or maybe not even a B road, or a C road, and the police were out on patrol, obviously looked up and seen these flames in this deserted building, and they came up and arrested us. No, I'm sorry, they apprehended us, they didn't arrest us. And I thought, well, we explained what we were doing. Although there's no signs, this is in fact private property, the land, it belongs to somebody, and you could be prosecuted, but anyway, you better go, you better leave. So I just thought, now would be an ideal opportunity to ask these police officers, they didn't seem too aggressive, they seemed quite friendly, to ask them about all these mysterious lights that have been seen in the sky over Snowdon, in the vicinity of Snowdon. So I should add that even before we went to investigate this figure, I was going around in the area trying to get witness, speaking to shopkeepers or people my friends knew, people she knew, Welsh people, who had actually seen these lights. So I thought, right, I'll ask the police. This is a good opportunity. And I said, but I put it very casually. I said, is there any truth in all this light that's been witnessed over Snowdon? And one of them said, he said, we've been inundated with reports, or rather we get inundated with reports like that all the time. He said, yes, there is. He said, I'm not saying it's true, but he said, yes. And he said, I pushed him, and he said, well, it's funny you should mention, but on our way up here tonight that we're driving up, we saw some strange light going over the cottage. So what we saw, I think almost certainly what lit up this cottage was one of these mysterious unexplained lights. So no, there were no arrests on that occasion.
Great, okay, finally, just to end, what are your plans for the future?
I plan to carry on being exactly as I am. I'm not going to change. I'm going to carry on writing books, I'm going to carry on with my psychic investigations, I'm going to carry on having a pipe when I feel like it, I'm going to carry on having a cigarette when I feel like it.
Alright everybody, there's copies of some of his books there.
Oh yeah, there are some books. That's the last one. Sorry, there's my first volume of my autobiography that's on the table, and the second volume when it came out last week. I'm going to deduct, as it's only at this talk, I will deduct, if anybody wants to buy one, I shall deduct £3 off the listed price. And is that all, Mr. Medway?
And that's it.
Thank you very much. Many thanks to David Farrant and his interviewer, Gareth J. Medway.